Yo, Elliot. Matty J wants to know if by doing 100 chin-ups a day, 5 days a week, he's going to overtrain. So basically he's going into military boot camp and he knows that they're going to ask him to do a lot of chin-ups, every day perhaps, right? And he wants to prepare, so he's doing 100 chin-ups a day. And the way he's designed his program is pretty slick. So he's using high resistance and low volume, high volume, low resistance or low intensity. He's breaking it up throughout the day. He's using many different methods in order to train his nervous system to respond quickly to the demand of doing chin-ups. You're a boss, you're a beast. Now, the question is, are you going to overtrain by doing 100 chin-ups a day, 5 days a week for the next several months? Okay, there are two things to consider. Number one, pattern overload, which is a little bit different than quote-unquote overtraining. Pattern overload is essentially where you do the same shit over and over and over and over and over and over again, and it deforms your body because you start taking on the shape of a machine that does lots and lots of chin-ups. That's okay for a little while, but essentially those muscles start to become very tense and tonic, and they will pull your joints out of their instantaneous axis of rotation. I've used that term before, but this is basically where you have structural integrity of your joint. So if you're doing lots of chin-ups, you're doing like 100 of these a day, trust me, your bicep is gonna get really, really tense. Even if you're doing it this way, your bicep, your forearms, what would seem to be the front of your shoulder, but really it's your fucking bicep again, for most people, depending on how you do chin-ups, is gonna become very taut, tense, tonic, and you need to stretch, foam roll it, and also train muscles on the opposing part of that joint. Otherwise, I mean, you are gonna fuck up your joints. I don't care what anybody tells you. Try it out. Try that shit out, and I promise you, this is not gonna feel good, especially if you're not taking care of corrective measures. The other thing is what's happening with your nervous system, okay? So a lot of people have asked and have been asking me about this idea of overtraining and how it might be a myth, like there might be no such thing as overtraining. I think other YouTubers have said, you know, overtraining doesn't exist. Look, that sounds real cool. Let's put this shit into practice, and I'll tell you exactly how to know if you are overtrained or not. I mean, sometimes it's so fucking obvious. It's like, I can't get rid of this cold, I have insomnia, and my dick won't get hard, but I work out every fucking day for 3 hours. Yeah, dude, you're overtrained. You have nothing left in order to bone your girlfriend, and you've got snot dripping out your nose for the past 3 months. You're fucking overtrained, right? It doesn't take very much, but those are the chronic effects. What I just described are the chronic effects, the long-term effects of not treating your body properly, right? Don't be, we get very neurotic with our approach towards training, and it's like more without taking a break. Okay, cool, but when you're impotent and you can't get rid of your flu, then you'll know that overtraining exists. But hey, look, don't take Elliot Hulse's word for it. Try this shit out. One of the ways to know if you are having an acute response to overtraining, to just doing too much yang without enough yin, too much catabolic without enough anabolic, is by testing your grip strength. This is one of the best ways to find out whether or not your nervous system is fatigued, whether you have central nervous system fatigue, which is basically the output isn't there anymore, simply because you're training too much, or you just happen to be, tired that day. At the beginning of a training phase where you believe you might move into overtraining, you just know that, I'm going 8 weeks hard right now, and I want to gauge whether or not this is detracting from my gains or not. Start with a simple grip test. Just set up, you do it any way you want, but one of the easiest ways to do it is just set up a barbell, right? Put 2 45s on each side, depending how strong you are, right? In a rack, hold it, grab it, right? Grab it, hold it, like lift it off the rack, and just stand there, holding it as long as you can. Make sure there's a clock on the wall, and watch how long it takes before, bang, you drop. So let's say you get a minute and a half, right? 90 seconds it's taken for you to hold on to that, which is pretty damn good. And then bang, you let go of it. Now that is your benchmark. That is how much strength you're able to produce from your nervous system out into the muscle, right? You get that, right? The nervous system acts as like electricity out into the muscle tissue. If you can't reproduce that amount of power, a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, you're getting weaker, then you're overtraining. And that shouldn't make any sense, because if you're training more, why are you getting weaker, right? So if you go 3 months from now, and 3 months is still kind of acute with regard to overtraining, you know? It'll take several quarters before your dick can't get up because you're overtrained. But 60 to 90 days is still sort of acute. Go and test your grip strength. If you can't hold 90 seconds again, guess what, buddy? You gotta back off because you can't produce the strength anymore. That means there's an acute response to the training. It's a negative acute response to the training. You should not be getting weaker. So, my pull-up challenged friend, in order to know whether or not you're overtraining, you've got to ask yourself, am I getting stronger? If you're not getting stronger, if you used to be able to do 10 and now you can only do 8, or you use my simple test, you can only do 30 seconds before you're doing 60 seconds with the grip test, then you're overtrained. It's as simple as that. Just test this shit out. None of this stuff is written in stone. A lot of people like to have you believe, and I've made this rant before, that there are hard and fast rules, right? There's proof and there's scientific research. You know what? Try this shit out. Try it out. It's the only way you know what's going on. But be very mindful about gauging your progress. If everyone says this shit is so, and you try it out and it ain't so, doesn't mean you have to prove anybody wrong. It just means the shit don't work for you. And that's okay. We're all very different. So that's it, bro. Good luck.
Yo, Elliot,